All right, it looks like everybody was able to make it in. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world today. My name is John Swafford. I am the Director of International Enrollment Management here at MTSU. Today is our first webinar in the Fall 2026 webinar series. So we've worked really hard in our office to kind of update a few of these things. There's some new processes that have come about, or new processes for things that we've always done. So there's a lot of good information in here. Really hope that you enjoy it. While we're talking, I ask that if you have any questions, you put those questions in the chat, and then at the end, we will have time for questions, and then we'll answer all those questions in the chat. I just ask that we don't unmute ourselves because it can cause a lot of feedback. So before we get started, I want to introduce all of our team. One of the things that truly makes MTSU special and unique is the team that we have here. We have put together a really strong team that has a lot of experience, not only here in international, but in just in general enrollment here at MTSU. So this is the team that you're going to see. Another really special thing about MTSU is we do everything here. So you're going to hear a little bit about that as they explain their roles. But when you're here at MTSU, these are the people you are going to be dealing with until you graduate. So you're going to know all of us. You're going to be able to recognize us. We're going to know you by name. And that's something that's really unique about us here at MTSU. So with that being said, Mr. Brian Madrano, if you could introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Brian Medrano. I'm the Associate Director of International Enrollment Management. I'm really happy to be working with all of you, and I'll be here happily smiling whenever you have a question so that we can just move forward and make this a smooth process.
Thank you. All right, and Miss Felicia, if you can introduce yourself.
Thank you, John. Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Felicia Griner. I am an admissions analyst here at Middle Tennessee State University. I work primarily with graduate students, but if you're not a graduate student, you got questions, I will do my best to get you the assistance that you need. Looking forward to meeting you.
Thank you, Felicia. So Felicia is the one you guys are going to talk to when you decide to continue your academic career here at MTSU. Miss Sarah, could you introduce yourself for me?
Hello, I am Sarah Graham. I am the transcript analyst here at MTSU. If you ever need any help or assistance, I'm willing to help in any way that I can.
Thank you, ma'am. Miss Toy, if you can introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Toy Scott. I work with you prior to your arrival with regard to your immigration documents. Sometimes I do mock visa interviews, answer any questions you have about the immigration process, the visa process. And then once you're here on campus, I just try to make sure that you stay compliant with the regulations and give advice regarding employment. Welcome to MTSU.
Thank you, ma'am. Miss Rima, if you can introduce yourself.
Hello everyone, I'm Rima and I'm the recruitment manager for the South Asia region. So if you need any help before your enrollment or if you have any queries or questions, you can always contact me. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And then finally, Mr. Matthew Wells, if you can introduce yourself.
Yeah, hello. My name is Matthew Wells. I am the marketing and events coordinator for the office, and we're happy you're here.
Thank you, sir. All right, so that's our team. We are actually missing a couple people, but that just means you'll have to tune into our other webinars so that you can get to meet them before you get here. With that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get this started. Let me share my screen. All right, so these are the next steps for undergraduate students. What we're going to go over today is we're going to cover all of the things that you need to know to help you get registered and enrolled once you're here. So a lot of these things can be done, in fact, once you get here. Most of them you're going to benefit by not waiting that long. So there's a lot of information in here. We're kind of covering it at a higher level, but that's going to give you a lot of opportunity for questions when this is over. So these are some of the processes that we have. So the first one is going to be that I-20 getting issued. That's the first step that we need. Student accounts, we're going to go over some of the student accounts that we have on campus and what those are used for. Mostly we're going to explain why they're so important that you pay attention to them. Placement tests, these are tests that you're going to take to get enrolled. New to blue orientation is your orientation here to MTSU, housing and immunization requirements, and then finally international check-in that we have that's a requirement for our office. So now I will hand it over to Miss Sarah.
All right, thank you, John. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the documents needed for your I-20. There are three main things that we will need from you. First is a copy of your passport. We just need it to be clear and valid so we can confirm your identity. Second is the financial statement form. This is a form that you'll complete to show how you plan to fund your education. And the third is the financial support documentation. For MTSU, you'll need to show a minimum of $3,600 and $500,000. This can be a bank statement or a scholarship form. Once we have all three of these submitted and approved, we can move forward with issuing your I-20. Next slide. All right, once you're admitted, you'll be able to update your account through your application portal. You'll also have access to several platforms using single sign-on, including your empty mail pipeline, health services, housing. You'll only receive official correspondence through empty mail. One thing I like to tell students, just make sure to check your empty mail regularly. That's where you'll get all your official communications and will be sent to you. Next slide. Okay. These are required for students to enroll in certain courses, especially in areas like math and English. This is the placement test. There are both virtual and in-person options available, so you can choose what works best for you. I had to take the placement test when I signed up to come to MTSU as well, and I did it in person, so it's nice, and you're in a room secluded, and you're able to think clearly while you're there. So you have those options to choose from. Some students may be exempt if you have qualifying SAT scores or ACT scores. But if you need to take them, I definitely recommend completing them as early as possible so that there are no delays when you're trying to register for your classes. Next slide. All right, so here's a quick breakdown. You can contact University Studies at university.studies@mtsu.edu. Students sent checklists and link to English surveys. Once checklist complete, you can get a voucher sent to you. And then the fees for the test for the Accuplacer is $28. And then for the MTSU, the fee is $25. But you can go through University Studies. They're more than happy to assist you with that process.
So something I wanted to clarify a little bit on this one.
Mhm.
So the difference in fees, the Accuplacer fee is if you're taking it virtually. So if you're not taking it here at MTSU, that's when you'll have to pay the Accuplacer fee. If you only take it at MTSU, it'll be just the $25, but you won't be able to take it until you're here on campus, which is no earlier than 30 days prior to the start of your semester. So it is recommended to do it early, but just so you know where those kind of fees come in.
And I think that was all. So I will hand it back over to John.
Perfect. Thank you, ma'am. So there's also immunization requirements. So for students that want to get registered full time, which is all of you on this call, because if you're on this call, you should be attending on an F1 visa. You're going to have varicella and MMR immunizations to register full time. If you're living on campus, you will also need a meningitis immunization. This is only for students that are planning on living on campus. You can submit this documentation to the health services. You should be getting an email, like one of our mailings that indicates some of this information, and there's a link on there for you to the health services page. That's going to show you the different immigration or immunization requirements for international students. So some of them are a bit different. International students also have what's called the tuberculosis test. For some of you, that's just going to be you filling out a form. Some of you will actually have to do the test. It depends on which country you're from. You can receive all of these immunizations once you get here. So if you don't have these immunizations or you don't have the documentation for these immunizations, that's just fine. You can get registered for just one or two classes, and that covers you for insurance. So the way insurance works at MTSU is it's automatically billed through your student account. When you register, it's automatically added to your account once you've registered. So once you register for 3 or 6 or 9 hours, you can then get those immunizations so that you can then get your full-time registration. Most of them require 2 doses, but once you get the first dose, you'll have a 30-day extension and it'll allow you to get registered for those other courses. And it will be covered by insurance. So just kind of important to think about that if that's going to be a challenge for you, remember that you can get that done here. The timeline is a little bit different, but this stuff is a lot easier to get done than say like the placement test we talked about earlier. And then there's also, it'll detail what kind of documentation you could submit via the portal. You will need some of these to get full time, and you'll have to enter some information before you can get registered at all. New to Blue orientation. So New to Blue orientation is your new student orientation to come to MTSU. It's going to cover a lot of different things. It's going to get you acclimated with the university, teach you about some of the resources that we have here on campus for our students. It's also going to tell you just a little bit about MTSU and the campus itself. You're going to meet with an advisor during this New to Blue orientation, and then you'll actually register for courses when you're meeting with your advisor. So this is where you'll register for your first semester worth of courses. This is a very new process. So New to Blue orientation was completely overhauled and redone last year. And then this year they've updated the process for the system that they use for this. So there may be some issues. If anything like that comes up, please reach out to orientation@mtsu.edu if you have any questions, and they'll be happy to assist you. What you'll do is you'll register on your pipeline. I'm going to talk about the dates here in just the next slide, but you'll register on your pipeline account. So on that home page, there's going to be a sign up for New to Blue orientation box, and you'll register there. When you register, you will have some online modules that you have to complete, and the orientation office will help you if you can't figure out where those are, and they'll notify you of where they are for you to find those. They're just quick online modules giving you some of that information, and then you'll schedule that meeting with your advisor. So before you get any of this done, we need to have those placement tests done so that you can get registered. If your placement tests aren't completed, they're not going to be able to see you. The advisor will not be able to see you because you can't register, so there's no sense in them meeting with you. So keep in mind you want to get those done first. You also want to try to get this done before you arrive. So there are some exceptions that you can do, and you can get some of this done after you get here, but it is going to be the best for you once you arrive because the advisors are going to be very busy when you get here. They're going to be very busy. It's going to be hard getting an appointment with them. Classes are going to be filled up. And then it's just a lot easier to get these classes registered and taken care of before you arrive so that you don't have to worry about it during the summer. Also, keep in mind, we'll talk more about bill pay, but let's say you get registered and let's say you haven't even gotten your visa interview yet. You don't even have a visa yet. That's fine. You can still register for this. You can still register for your courses. And if you don't get your visa for whatever reason and you can't end up coming, your courses will be dropped and it won't have any charge for you or anything like that. It won't affect your ability to come back and defer to a later semester or anything like that. So highly recommend that we get this done as early as you can. So these are the dates for these are virtual session dates. With the new system, you're going to have the ability to register for any of the dates that are available based on your college. The way orientation works is it's based on which college you belong to. For example, aerospace is in the College of Basic and Applied Sciences. That college has certain dates, and when you register, only those dates will be available for you. As international students, you will also have these 5 dates available to register for. These are the virtual options for you. Typically, these are only for transfer students. And we only offer we only offer it for incoming freshmen if you're an international student because it's not typically feasible for you to come in person. So these are the dates you want to register for on your orientation sign up. Any of these virtual options will work. You see one's coming up actually next week. That's one of the first ones. And you're welcome to still register for it. It's going to be $35 for you to register, and I believe there is a charge for guests, but if you're doing it online, that won't matter. If you can come in person, highly recommend that you come in person. Now, naturally, not all of us are going to be able to come in person. Some of us are coming from very far away, and you're not going to be able to get here in time for that. But if you can, highly recommend that because it is a very informative session. But we're also working to give you something similar to this when you actually arrive, so we can cover a lot of the resources and everything. So it's really not required, but it's a good experience if you can do it. And again, if you have any questions about signing up for New to Blue orientation, please reach out to us. You can email us at international@mtsu.edu, or you can email orientation, and they can assist you through this. Housing is your next step, or is one of your next steps. So you need to make sure that you're getting your housing situated. You are not required to live on campus, but there are on-campus housing available. Actually, the house that I have on here is House 7. That is an international living learning community where a lot of our international students end up living. There's a separate application to live on campus. You'll have to complete that through the housing department. There are also off-campus off-campus options available. Many of them are very close. Some of them are so close that students don't even realize they are not on campus. They're that close to MTSU. As a matter of fact, on this picture right here, you can't see it, but just to the left, I don't even think it's 100 yards away, is off-campus housing. That's how close they are. Many of them are right across the street. Murfreesboro, Tennessee is a college town, so it's built around MTSU in a lot of ways. So we have a lot of off-campus housing, a lot of college housing available. Many of those off-campus apartments are going to work very similar to a dorm. You're going to have 3 or 4 bedrooms. Each one's going to have its own private bathroom. Oftentimes they're furnished, and that can even potentially be a little cheaper than living on campus, depending on where you're living. Important thing to be aware of is we cannot get you housing. If you completed the application and you weren't able to get in housing, I cannot do anything about that. That is all done through the housing department. For off-campus housing, I certainly can't do anything about that because that is an entire separate unit. So just be aware of that. If you're not able to get into housing, we are not able to assist with this. And I've seen students come when they get here and they're staying in a hotel when their first few days while they try to figure this out. I do not recommend that. If you can figure out housing before you get here, work with some of these apartments, work with on-campus housing department to get yourself housing accommodations before you get here. It's going to make your life a lot easier before you arrive, or once you arrive, rather. International check-in. So once you arrive, there's going to be a few things we need from you for you to get registered with SEVIS. This is essentially for us to say you have been issued an I-20. That I-20 is what's called an initial I-20. We need to get you registered to show that you're continuing to enroll, that your SEVIS account is active. For that, we need a few documents that you have to submit to us. So you'll need to submit us a copy of your visa once you've received it, and you can submit that as soon as you get it. You'll need to submit us a copy of your I-94, which is your arrival record. If you're unsure how to get that once you get here, we can give you some information of how to download it. It's very simple. And then your signed I-20. That can be signed until you get here, but you can sign your I-20 and you can submit that. You'll also need to attend international orientation. So we talked about New to Blue orientation. That is the orientation for all MTSU undergraduate students that are incoming. International orientation is just for incoming F1 students. So this is going to have a little bit more information about some differences about MTSU or about the U.S. Education system. And then we talk a lot about compliance, especially in this climate. It's really important that you're all very aware of the rules, aware of the regulations behind you studying on an F1 visa so that we don't violate any of those rules and maintain your status while you're here. We also have a series of Welcome Week events, a welcome event for international students to come meet one another as well as other departments. We'll have library tour, campus tour, Walmart shopping for students to go get some of their groceries. We offer a couple different workshops as well during Welcome Week. So a lot of really great events happening on Welcome Week. I highly recommend students sign up for as many events as they can. It's a great opportunity for you not only to learn a little bit more, to get a little more. It really helps prepare you for attending, but it's also a great opportunity to meet other students. So highly recommend it. We have some upcoming webinars. You should be getting emails. You should have gotten an email link to our webinar page where you can sign up for any of them. There's a calendar that you can see all the upcoming webinars for the fall. We will also be sending out an email it'll come out a week before each of these for you to register for them individually. So just be aware of that. May 5th is going to be the visa interview webinar. We're going to talk about the visa interview. We're going to talk about some tips and tricks for you when you're actually going to the visa interview. May 12th, we're going to talk about culture shock. It's very different coming to the US, and there's going to be some culture shock. And so we'll talk a little bit about that. May 19th, we're going to talk about the student services. So that's going to be all the different services that are offered at MTSU by different departments. Another thing that really sets MTSU apart in my mind is the support we offer students outside of the classroom. So we have entire offices here at MTSU that are dedicated to making sure you can be successful. We'll have this webinar to talk about some of those departments so that you're aware of those resources once you get here. And then May 26th, we'll do another next steps webinar. So just keep in mind, we got a lot of webinars coming up, a lot of good information for students. Look at the calendar when it comes through because there's some other ones that outside of this, there's some about bill pay, some about campus life. We're going to do one about a tour of Murfreesboro, Nashville, MTSU to kind of give you an idea of what you're going to see when you get here. So a lot of really great webinars for our students we have planned this summer. International orientation, we're going to be sending out plenty of information about this, but just so you can go ahead and start planning and thinking about it, July 18th is going to be the first one, and then August 18th is going to be the session 2. You only have to attend one. You're welcome to attend whichever one you prefer. And that is all we have today. So now I'm going to open this up to questions. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat and we will answer them as they come in. Oh, something else I wanted to mention. We will send out as a follow-up to this email, you should be getting a as a follow-up to this webinar, you should be getting an email that has a link for our webinars page. That is where you're going to find all of our recorded webinars. So this is our first one, so we don't have many obviously from this semester, but there are past ones that talk about the visa interview, that talk about student services, that talk about all the things we're going to talk about in our future webinars. You're welcome to go look on there and see if you're interested in some of that information. Yes, so when you register for courses, what it's going to look like, you know what, let me show you. Because this one ended up a little early. I can show you exactly what you're going to see. So this is your pipeline account. Mine's going to look a little bit different than yours because I'm staff, but I also was a student here a couple times, as a matter of fact. So it also looks pretty similar. But you see right here, new to blue orientation, right in your home tab, You just click that and you can sign up. I don't think it'll let me. Yeah, it won't let me sign up because I don't qualify. But this is where you're going to sign up when you get into your pipeline account. Registration and student records, look up classes. Your advisor is going to go through all this, so if you can't remember this, don't worry about it. So we're going to look for political science class, an intro class. So when you're looking for your classes, your advisor is going to give you information about what classes you should be looking at, what classes you are required to take for your major. And then when you actually go to look, say they've told you you need to take political science 1010. You're going to have all of these different options. Each row is a different class, and it's going to tell you the meeting times, and it's going to tell you the dates. So this class meets at 2:40 to 4:05 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. This class meets 1 to 2:25 on Tuesdays, and then there's also an online section. So that one's a little different. Let me give you a better example. There's lots of options. So almost all of you are going to have to take English 1010. Um, pro Probably every single one of you will have to take English 1010. So you'll see there's lots of different options. 8 a.m. if you're into that for Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Good luck. Monday, Wednesday at 8:40. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9:10, so on and so forth. So you'll be able to see all that, and your advisor will be able to help you. And then you'll have to kind of put together your schedule based on what courses you need and what courses are offered. So um, it is it is a little complicated trying to figure that out, but your advisor will help you the first time. And luckily for you, you're going to have a lot of classes to choose from. And then by the time you get to the point that you're in your junior year and you have a lot fewer options and courses fill up a lot faster, then you'll already be pretty well versed in it and you'll be able to set your schedule pretty easily. I always enjoyed setting my schedule, but it was always a complicated system to figure out how to get the schedule I wanted, as well as the courses I wanted, as well as the professors I wanted. But that's part of the fun of it. Any other questions? I'm putting our international email in there. That's our main international inbox that's shared by most of us here. If you ever have questions, you're welcome to find us there. Reach out there, would be just fine. We can answer whatever questions you might have then. So I don't see any other questions in here. We're going to go ahead and end this webinar now then. Look forward to seeing you all in fall. Look forward to seeing you all in any other webinars later on this summer. And like I said, please reach out to us if you have any questions, okay? Thank y'all for joining us this morning.